Well, surrounded as we are by farmers and gardeners, professional and amateur horticulturalists, the object lesson that Jesus uses in the Gospel of John is not complicated. Even if we're not familiar with vineyards, we understand that a branch cut off from a vine, separated from the source of its nutrients, its life force, will not stay alive for long. And certainly it will not bear fruit. It is destined for the fire pit, or the compost bin, or the tree dump. We get that. What we're less clear on, I think, is the source of our life, upon which our life depends. What do we need to stay connected to so that we can have life? Our culture is built these days on the image of the self-made person. We admire and try to imitate those who are independent. To a fault, we might say. But behind those words, when we say to a fault, we really wish that we could be so self-reliant. The worst thing many of us can imagine is being a burden to someone else. And we use words like freedom and democracy, but what we really mean is freedom to do what we want, when we want, how we want, regardless of its impact on anyone else. Even as we are glued to reality shows where we can be voyeurs on lives of those who will open up their lives, even as we share and give away all kinds of personal information knowingly or unknowingly online, but then we guard our own lives as if they are no one else's business. Because I think part of us honestly believes that we can live a way that doesn't have an impact on anyone else. Now, I'm not sure why we want that to be so. It is part of what keeps us at a distance from one another. And I understand the fear of being judged, rejected, or ridiculed. I understand the resistance to having to be accountable for what we do when no one is watching. But just because no one sees me leave the tap running doesn't mean I'm not wasting water. And we can protect our privacy all we want, but it doesn't mean we don't need each other, and that we don't need to let others in behind those privacy walls we've built for our own good. I wonder if we realize how much we depend on others. What would it look like if you took an inventory of who and what you relied on today, without even being aware of it? Like, where did the bed come from that you slept in last night? Did you make it? The blankets that covered you, did you quilt them yourself? Have you used electricity or water today? How did those get to you? Who made that possible? Who of the many, many people made that possible? Who regulated it so that you could trust it was being done safely? That you can drink the water out of your tap? Did you eat breakfast? Where did that food come from? Who produced it? Or grew it? Or cooked it? Did you make the clothes you're wearing today? It's okay. We are not meant to be islands. We're not in this by ourselves. Failing does not make us failures. Falling does not make us failures. Needing help does not mean we're incapable. It means that we are human. And part of our reluctance to be human might be because we feel too tired, too impatient, too overwhelmed to imagine carrying the burdens of others. Of course, maybe we're feeling that way because we haven't let anyone else help carry our burden. I wonder, too, if our quest for independence might stem from the times that we feel like branches that have been pruned from the tree. If we look back at this Bible reading, John's community has been thrown out, much like a dead stick that has been chopped off from the tree. Those still following the Jesus way, now decades after Jesus walked among them, they have been rejected by their friends, their family, the official church, and they feel pretty much cut down and abandoned. And so then John tells this group of people the story of Jesus' goodbye message, emphasizing Jesus' presence even when it gets hard. Those of you who heard the reading, did you hear how many times the word abide was mentioned? I think it's like 9 times in 8 verses. John wants people to get the point that Jesus will be with them even when it's hard. And even if it's super hard, don't feel like you're being pruned or that you've been cut off. What if you think about it as being pruned? He kind of reimagines the concept. You're not orphaned. Think of how you grow plants. And all you have to do, John says, according to Jesus, is stay connected. Because Jesus is with you, for you, abiding with you, and will not let you go. Actually, that's not even true. That's not really what he says. He doesn't say you have to stay connected. What Jesus says is you are already connected. You don't even have to do that. What you need to do is be a disciple. And if you do that, don't worry, the fruit will grow. I wonder if we could think about it this way. We are connected to the other people we share this planet with, whether we think about it or not, whether we tend to them or not. We're connected by the ground we walk on, the air we breathe. Like that Zach Brown Band song. It says, we're all in the same boat, fishing in the same hole, wishing on the same stars, all hoping hope floats. We're all in the same boat. Whether we act like it or not, we are connected. It's up to us whether that knowledge impacts how we live. Jesus seems to be saying a similar thing. Whether you feel connected or not, the source is not going anywhere. You will abide in me by the gift of the Spirit. The Spirit will teach you how to love one another. The Spirit will keep us connected, said Jesus. You to me, all of us to God, you to one another. You are not orphaned. John Rodell describes it with this image. Me. Hey, God. God. Hey, John. Stress. Hey, John. Fear. Hey, John. Doubt. Hey, John. Anxiety. Hey, John. Depression. Hey, John. Me. God? God. Still here. Barbara Lundblad, on the other hand, compares it to being mountain climbers. She remembers that saying, the reason that mountain climbers are tied together is to keep the sane ones from going home. She notes, the ones who said that are playing with us a bit, for we know that mountain climbers are tied together to keep from getting lost or going over a cliff. But there is another piece of truth here. When things get tough up on the mountain, when fear sets in, many a climber is tempted to say, this is nuts, I'm going home. The life of faith can be like that. Doubts set in, despair overwhelms us, and the whole notion of believing in God seems, well, crazy. Jesus knew that his disciples would have days like that. So he told them, we're all tied together, like branches on the vine, or like climbers on the rope, tied together in the Spirit, to trust the one who is always more than we can understand, to keep us moving ahead on the journey of faith, to encourage us even when believing seems absurd. So Jesus says, abide in me like I already abide in you. Isn't it a relief to know it's not entirely up to us? That the work of making the connection is already done? That we can just open ourselves up to it and receive it like a gift? How might that gift, how might that promise shape our actions and the fruit that we bear? That's all a part of making the connection. Thank God we are in it together. Amen.